बोलिए आदिनाथ भगवान की जय। I hope you all are able to see my PowerPoint presentation. Before I come to my main topic on climate change in the perspectives of ahimsa, I would like to clarify a few concepts which are related to the natural sources, natural the activities which are taking place in the universe, we can say in general and in particular in our Bharat Kshetra, where we are always talking about our solar system and we are concerned with our cosmos. That is one part, but at the same time, related to that, why we are talking every time that ahimsa is significantly important. So today, in addition to ahimsa, I have to add one more factor, one more wo Mahavrat, you can say, that is aparigraha. And I have to tell a few concepts related to aparigraha. In the beginning, after clarifying these concepts, I will go to the scientific perspectives which are taking place related to the climate change. Then how it is related, all those scientific perspectives or the climate change which we have been talking since last 40, 50 years in relation to the Jain perspectives in general and particularly ahimsa and aparigraha. So that is the whole kind of a talk which I would like to briefly present. Actually, the topic climate change is very long and elaborated topic. I will try to cover today almost briefly many aspects. So the talk will be slightly little longer today. Maybe perhaps I may take 5 minutes break during my presentation. First of all, I would like to take you to the desert, Registan. If you have seen in USA, in Arizona, or in Canada, or in Australia, or in Rajasthan, in Jaisalmer, Badmer, etc., you must have seen the sand dunes. What are these sand dunes? You see, if you compare with the Aravalli Mountains or the Great Mountains or Canyon in US, the sand dunes, you will never see the mountains of sand like stone mountains like Aravalli or the other mountains, Himalaya, etc. Why it is so? This question is very important. The sand, which is small particles, or you can say very small, tiny dust particles. And whenever you take any dravya, any matter, and if you have crushed small particles, and now you try to pile it up, even like our rice or any pulse, and if you try to pile up at some location, at it will attract up to some point, and after reaching to a some critical point, it will start to dissipate, and there will be some kind of avalanche effect. Avalanche means like that ice sheets are falling, they never stay for a longer time. Similarly, in aparigraha, actually as per our canonical texts, whenever you try to collect coins or the whatever the currency or like that, but matter is always in any form it may be, but it is in packets. It is in whether it is light, we say photons, it is particles you can say, or charged particles. Even the whatever the actions you do, it is always considered things which are coming in packets. And the small particles, when they move, then it is known as a wave. So two important aspects are there, small particles and the flow of them as a wave. It may be in the shabda, which is also pudgal, that may be acoustic waves, it may be electromagnetic waves, it may be other kinds of water waves, pressure waves, thermal waves, temperature waves, but it is composed of small packets, and those packets are nothing but energy. And this is matter, sand. Always, you see, whenever you can do experiment and you start to pile it up, it will always, see, after some critical height, it will fall off. It will not go like a bigger stone because that is of a collection of particles and deposit it. You can take iron plates and you can go very high, but finally that will also, after some time, it will fall. So in the nature also there are effects, and this effect is known as self-organized criticality. I'm coining a term, self-organized criticality, and this is the law of nature. This is not, I mean, given by me, but it is, I have just coined this name. And this law of nature, self-organized criticality, applies to everywhere. For example, I have just given on the right side the very recent, the Turkey, Syria, that earthquake. So whenever the energy piled up in the earth, then there will be explosion. Similarly, if you try to collect money as per with your karmas, you can do that, but finally it will fall off. And this self-organized criticality is basically the law of dissipating the energy, dissipating of matter, dissipating of money, dissipating of anything which you are trying to collect. So please remember, this is very important self-organized criticality law, and that is nature never allows anyone to, under pride or the greed or any kind of a passion, it never allows to carry any item which as per your desire to beyond the maximum limit. And that maximum limit, that amplitude is decided, it is governed by your karma. So this is how the aparigraha, that you can say parigraha works, but parigraha has bigger science. I'm not going into the mathematics of this thing because many of you may not understand if I start to write the equations, but I thought first I should clarify. So if you do yourself, considering that yes, we should follow the fundamental fundamental Mahavrat of aparigraha to dissipate my collections, my all this for this to among all others, then it is very good. If you don't do, then time may come at, you see, you will never know. And automatically, under this self-organized criticality, the material will dissipate and it will go off. You might have experienced many examples in life, and very recent example also in the share market which happened. Let me go to the next slide. Now, the major, our important topic today is related to the climate change. In fact, whenever we talk about the climate, many questions come in mind.
Professor Rajmal Jain, please, sorry. Can you unmute yourself? Because some participants, they are disturbing, so that's why. Yes. Have you unmute? You can unmute yourself.
Can you listen my voice now?
Yes, yes,
Are you
yes.
able to hear me?
Yeah. It is clear.
Okay. But could you listen my in the previous slide very well?
Yes, it was clear. It was clear.
Okay. So now what I want to say, whenever we talk anywhere in the group of friends, in the society, or at any other platform, national or international, about the climate, the many people first ask, what is the climate and how it is changing? What do you mean by climate is changing? So there are many questions related to the climate. They will ask what are the factors governing that climate change, whether it is really related to the life critical stability, and if it is going to change our the future, then how it will change our future, how early it is going to take place. And the answers, if you see the response of all these kinds of questions, is already hidden in our Jain canonical texts. And that is what I am going to do today. That this in response of this climate. So first of all, I will explain you what is climate. See, if you are, I'm audible. I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Suppose you in USA, you are sitting in Almagordo, a city in the New Mexico. And if you measure the temperature, pressure, even the air density, air speed, that wind speed, etc., or I mean even the this humidity, etc., of all these kind of climatic, whatever we say, atmospheric conditions in Almagordo, in a small village or in a town, all these changing conditions of the atmosphere, they are known as weather. Weather, weather. So weather is a general term for a local, not for a larger. But now if I talk for a New Mexico or a, for example, Florida or the New York state or California state, or in India, Rajasthan or Gujarat like that, then the same weather, actually all data around the covering the all the different parts of that state and taking average, then it is known as climate. So there is a difference between weather and climate. Weather is a local term and climate is for a bigger area. So first remember, climate is a part that all measurements which we are I am talking, that is temperature, density, pressure, humidity, etc., they are part of dravya, but over the an area, kshetra, region. So that is the climate. Now if for the whole USA or for whole India, then we will say what is the national climate, means it is taking average of the climate over the all the states. So that is national climate. Then throughout the whole, all the six continents or all over the earth, that is what we call as a global climate. And now the question that global climate, which is an integral of the all the climates at different parts of the world, that has been noticed that it is changing. What are the factors which are changing? So mainly two, three important parameters which have been noticed and they affect our human life. First is the global air temperature, global surface temperature, they are changing. Okay, that is very important, and they say that it is changed. Now there are two different versions on temperature. Few scientists, they say that yes, it is changing, but many other scientists, they refuse that it is changing. So what are the real agreements or not, evidences or not, that I will discuss today. The second thing is, which is much more important, that sea surface temperature. that ocean temperature is increasing. And if it is increasing, means that is really very, very important, and it means our climate is changing. Similarly, the sea levels is growing, sea level is rising. If it is that, it means our land, used land is decreasing. That will also be a dangerous part. So what are the evidences for that? That I will discuss. Now, about the global warming, whatever the scientists, as I told, are disputed or in the divided into two, that some people say that global warming was there and it is still continuing, and it will be by the end of this century, it will be very, very hot. On the other hand, some scientists, they say that it was there. Now global warming has ended and now we are moving ahead toward the cooling. So it means the global warming was there, now it is cooling, and whether it was in the past also or not, that we have to see and understand. So who is controlling, who is forming this weather or climate? That is very important. First, we have to understand whether this climate is formed by human being or it is the nature which is doing all this formation. So I will just tell you first fundamentals of our Jainism. I in my last talk, when I was talking about the environment imbalance, I told you about these five important Panchbhut Mahatattva, that is five important elements which actually form the environment. That is Akash, cosmosphere; Agni, heliosphere, that is sun; then Prithvi, geosphere; Jal, hydrosphere; and Vayu, atmosphere. Now, we have to split up these five components today in order to understand the climate. The climate actually is formed, or it is the integration of the components of Prithvi, that is geosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. Now, if this climate is related to this, then whatever the quantities which I told that they are changing as a function of time over the year, over the month, or on the daytime. So who is changing? And that is what is by our cosmos, Akash, Helios, the sun. So they are the natural sources. They are the source to form the climate on the earth. Now, how? The first thing, I would like to give you an example that see the light comes from the sun, and then it comes all the way, that light gives the food, it prepares the food for the plants, which is the process is known as photosynthesis process. It means whatever the information which is coming from the sun, if I want to see after 500 years or 1000 years in that tree, if the tree is still alive, then I should be able to see the information of the sun inside that tree. This is very important point. Okay, please remember. Similarly, the cosmos, the cosmic rays which are coming from the space, they also bring the lot of energy, much more energy than the sun also. But the sun has many important other features. So sometimes it allows the cosmic rays to enter, sometimes it doesn't allow to enter into the Earth's atmosphere. So we will see that how these two important sources, they form the climate, and they actually affect, monitor, they control the climate. So that is the natural source. Now, in the Jain canonical texts, as I discussed earlier also, that in order to protect this climate or these five major elements, the five important vows were given, that is related to the ahimsa, okay, and satya, that is truthfulness, then asatya, non-stealing, aparigraha, non-possession or non-attachment, non-acquisition, and brahmacharya, that chastity living. So these five things were there. Out of this, I am considering two for us human being very important, and that is ahimsa and apari. Ahimsa I talked many times in my last two lectures, but today I will consider also, in addition to ahimsa, this aparigraha, which is very important for the climate change. I would like to take you again back to the climate cycle described in Jainism, which is known as Kal Chakra. For their information, this Kal Chakra, I am considering it is applicable for my this talk. It is applicable only in Bharat Kshetra. This because it is keep on changing as a function of time, maybe of thousands of years or even 100,000 of years. On the contrary, in Vidya Kshetra, the conditions of the climate, by and large, it is written in the canonical texts that they are homogeneous conditions. They are not changing so abruptly. So currently, anyway, I will not go into those details, but I will consider for this our present beautiful planet Earth, which is a part of the solar system. And in this, our Jyotish Deva, that is, which are in the middle cosmos and in the solar system. So Bharat Kshetra is very important. Now, you can see from the first ara itself, that is in the Avsarpani, that is descending phase, it was very green. And after a few thousands of years, it became little light green. And by the third ara, that is third eon itself, it started to change. So by the end of the third eon, we talk generally that Bhagwan Rishabdev took the birth. And in the fourth ara, all the 24 Tirthankars were born. But if you see the colors which have been shown in the descending phase of Sarpani, now in the fifth ara, we have almost come to the red phase, which is an alarming phase. Why it happened? This is the only question which we want to address today. And how we see this question particularly, and these conditions of the change in the climate in context to the ahimsa and aparigraha. If this plot is given in the circular form, if I just cut it and spread on the linear form, then it will look like this, okay, I will come a little late. First, I have to explain this natural sources which I told to you, that is the cosmos and helio, that is Akash and Agni. Under this, there are 4 different parameters, and that I have to explain scientifically, that already have been studied in greater detail. That is Melancho cycle, El Nino, okay, solar and cosmic or irradiance, and volcano eruptions. So this one by one I will take. First of all, I would like to clarify our seasons which are formed. And now here, please keep your attention very seriously how this happens. And see, this is why in Jain canonical texts it is written that the laws of nature are very, very important, and we should not disturb any way any laws of nature. We should obey and respect this thing. You can see the sun is at the center, and the two side, that is which we call as on the equator, when the earth is there, and earth is, if you can see at my hand, earth is not like this, but earth is slightly inclined at 23.5 degree toward the north. Okay, and then it is moving around in the elliptical form around the sun. So 4 important positions have been shown, at the 2 at the equinox and 2 at the solstice points. So you can see that some at one solstice point, this west side is getting radiation, and the other side, that is in March, December, and the same thing it happens in the June on the west side. So this is the east side and the west side. So you can see that the radiation, the larger heat is received one time on the west side, the other time in the June, in the east side highest. But when it is on the equinox point, then you can see that everything goes on the either in this northern side or southern. So in March, etc., that is summertime, the all northern hemisphere will get the heat, and in November, December, winter time, the southern hemisphere will get heat. That is the life. So all this, I mean, nature is there by with this tilt as well as this motion. So there are at the moment I'm talking three different motions. First, as I told, is tilt, and this tilt is also changing. In a moment, I will tell how much it is changing. Then the Earth is rotating around its own axis at every position when it is revolving around the sun. And the third is that revolution, which is in elliptical orbit. So this very important motions, they itself, along with the radiation which is coming from the sun, it forms the climate. That is one. That is the season or the climate is formed because of that. Okay. Now, how that climate is changing? This is very important, which we call as a Melancho cycle. And what is happening in this? The sun is at the center and Earth is moving around the sun, as I told, but it is not in the circular, but it is slightly in high elliptical orbit. And this ellipticity itself, this ellipticity also changes. So the change of the ellipticity is about 1,100,000 years time. Please remember this period, and these periods are very well already documented, already have been researched by many, many techniques. Second, I told you that this tilt is there, and this tilt goes from 21.5 to 24.5. Okay, so it is going like this to this, then it returns back this. And at every time, third thing, at every this tilt position, there is a precision motion that the whole Earth goes around that thing. That is very important. So that is known as precision. So precision and the tilt and this eccentricity, or that is ellipticity, three motions, and they have the time. For example, the ellipticity has 100,000 approximately a year. Then this precision has about the 23,000 years, and the tilt has about the 41 to 43,000 years. So now if I put that Kal Chakra, the cycle, into the linear form, then it looks like this. And I showed this chart earlier also in my previous talk. So now you can see on the x-axis thousands of years, okay, and all this whole plot is graph is for almost more than 400,000 of years. That is what I told earlier when the brain came into the mind of the human beings. Earlier, human beings were there, but without the brain development. It came only about the 4 lakhs, that is 400,000 of years. And first, in the first eon, what we call Mahabal was there, second, third, etc. And finally, at the end of the third eon, the Rishabdev born, and after that, all 24. But you can see now what I want to show in this picture, more importantly, the excursion, the fluctuations in this blue line, which is nothing but the variation in the temperature from the normal temperature. How much delta T, how much it is changing from its normal stage. And you can see that 1 lakh year, you can see, and after every 100,000 years, there is a grand glacier, that maximum we call is a glacier maximum. That's all the ice, snow is frozen on the earth, and it is of several meters. And again, then volcanoes erupt, and again, heat comes and restart the life in the normal form. So this is the excursions have been, and this all data which is plotted over here, this has come from the Antarctica, which is uncontaminated zone on the earth. It is, and from that, Vostok is the name of the location in the Antarctica. From there, the depth ice core was brought, and then it has been analyzed through the radioisotopes, and we have measured the temperature variations, carbon dioxide variation, and the dust on the earth, etc. So this has been published by many, many researchers in the USA also. They have done, Indians have done, Russians have done, Europeans have done. And these small fluctuations within 100,000 years that correspond to that precision and the tilt. So this is what the natural cycle is there, and the radiation which is coming from the sun, the radiation which is coming from the sun, from the photosphere, that the sun which we see in the sky, it is known as the photosphere, and it takes only 8 minutes and 32 seconds. But now we should realize, and I will tell you in few moments, how much really it takes the time when it takes the birth inside the core. So this is the whole how story takes place. Jan of Sarpani Kal already it is in progress, and that also in science people call as a Paleolithic era, that is old stone time. New Neolithic era has started just 10 to 20,000 years before present. Okay, so let me go now next. Another effect is the El Nino and La Nina. What is El Nino and La Nina? You see that near Pacific Ocean, the east side or the west side, whichever take, there are two different types of flows of the winds are there. And when the hot air channel, when it moves, that hot air flow and it oscillates also. That is the particularly because the Pacific Ocean is in the southern side, so we call as a southern oscillations, and the heat waves when it like this moves. Sorry, my throat is not good today. That is known as El Nino. And on the other hand, the return, the cold waves which are there, and the cold waves are known as La Nina, and that comes from the other directions. So this basically was experienced by many, many people or the human beings since last few hundreds and thousands of years. But experimentally, it was not proven that such El Nino effect is there. Now, El Nino hot waves, when they come toward the eastern side, that is India side, then it has lot of, I mean, influence on the monsoon, climate change, etc. On the other side, when the cold waves are also there, then also they affect. So this is field is also, of course, not very old, but recently now it has catching momentum. And these two parameters, El Nino and La Nina, they have been considered as the important factors which is affecting the climate or not. I would like to give example which has been recently recorded that how the El Nino is affecting or it is moving. All the red points which are on the top side, they are the El Nino waves which are going. And there is a gradation has been done also that weak El Nino, or it is the medium, or it is strong or very strong. Similarly, blue on the bottom side, that is cool relative to that, is also has been graded to the weak, moderate, and the strong. You can see that sometimes you can see in this plot at least 4 or 5 times it is strong to very strong, but it is periodic. It is not that it has taken place or it has started only in this century, in this 21st century. It was earlier also, but we were not knowing much about it. But sometimes when it becomes very strong, like very recently it happened in 1970, 80 or something. Let me just read. Yes, 1995, between 1995 and 2000, very strong. And then it actually started to giving chaos on this earth, on this planet. Now, recently also, just from in this 21st century, again started the El Nino very strong. So there is a point. Now, when I was in the South America, in the Mexico, Guatemala, and Peru, because I saw there the and I went there to study the Shraman civilization in Peru, Guatemala, Mexico, and I found lots of signatures. I have written a book also on that, and perhaps many of you may like to read that book. So, and on the other hand, from the manuscript of Hemchandracharya Maharaj Sahib, that Rishabdev actually went all around all the six continents, everywhere, and he spent good amount of time. He spent 100,000 years on the earth because he had a long life. So he spent and he visited that place, and the signatures, the evidences which I could see that because in Peru, very close, I mean, hardly 2-3 kilometers away from the Pacific Ocean, there was a Supe civilization was there, community was there, and that community was of from Shraman civilization. Now, people may ask, how did you know that that was a, anyway, that is not a topic today, and I cannot describe all those things, but there are already evidences of a whole Shraman culture. And earlier, before Shraman culture, it was known as Nigantha, that Nirgranth religion. That is the it was existing over there. So that term has actually basically starts from there itself, the long, long back. And following to that super civilization, even the Maya civilization, which we saw that how the Samosharan temples and all, it means all those structures are there, but most of them, why they've collapsed, why that whole civilization collapsed, that was because of the volcano eruption which came inside the Pacific Ocean, and then very large tsunami, large means high magnitude tsunami came and completely washed out the whole societies and the civilization over there. This is our first order conclusion. Still, we are in the process of learning more and more between these under the our India South America program. So this is a satellite, actually the image which was taken very recently, and the white bubble, long bubble which is going, it is the El Nino. The other side which is coming, the cold violet color, is basically the whole, I should say, that La Nina, which I told about that. Now this oceans, why they have become suddenly abrupt? Previously, it was sometimes only, but not every time. I mean, very frequently. Why after every 2 years to 5 years and 10 years, we see the oceans are becoming abrupt. Previously, it was hardly once or twice in 100 years, 1,000 years. So basically, this appears to us, and I will tell in more detail in my next talks when I will consider about the Jal Kai Jeev and the Vayu Kai Jeev, etc. Then I will tell, but basically it appears we have done industrialization of ocean as well as our atmosphere aviation, and as a result, the important entities of this whole climate, because climate is not only we are the important people in this. We can say that, oh, we are human being, we are five sense, we have mind. No, it is not like that. The climate actually basically is the basic entity are the microbes, and we should not kill the microbes. That anyway I will tell, but because of the industrialization, we are killing such important entities. I'm coming how this sun is playing the key role basically in forming the climate. So you can see that here. Uh, I don't know, you can see my cursor, which is I am putting over here, but at the center of the whole, this sun is basically some kind of a hot bubble, hot globe, you can say, akka gola, a fireball. And at the center of this fireball, the millions and millions of nuclear explosions, that is hydrogen is continuously converting into the helium, or you can say thermonuclear fusion reactions are taking. See the nature which has been described as a suns in our canonical texts, that how the stars are doing their role, their work, and this, because as a result of this, how much temperature you can ask. So it is actually 15 million 15 million degrees Celsius. That much temperature is there. And as a result of that temperature only, the hydrogen is being converted, and that is photons are released. And photons, when they're released, then they interact with the nearby this charged particles or the material matter is there. So as I told in the very beginning, that everything is in the small particles, and every small matter has a physics, it has a science. So they interact, and then they get converted into the lower energy, like that. And finally, whatever we see the sun in the sky, that is at the photosphere. So you can ask me a wonderful question. Recently, just last week, I was in Satna in Madhya Pradesh in postgraduate college, and one student asked that how much time a photon takes to reach from the center, that is core of the sun, to the photosphere outside. That is the sun that we. You see, the journey takes long time, almost 1,76,000 years. So, dear participants, what I want to say, the sun which is we are observing as on today, it is not sun of today. It is the sun of 1,76,000 or about 2 lakhs of years ago. It is so old at that time. But the radiation, once it comes to the photosphere, then it hardly takes 8 minutes and 32 seconds to reach to the earth. So basically, we are concerned with the radiation which is coming as on today from the sun to the earth, and that gives the life to the Vayu Kaya Jeev, that is the all lives in the air, Vanaspati, that is trees, plants, all the crops, etc., and inside the oceans, that is in the hydrosphere also. But sun has many different kinds of layers. I have written here, that is the chromosphere, that is color, corona is there. And please remember the word corona, and then many things. Very important things, very important feature which I want to say, which the many people ask whether Bhagwan Mahavir was really aware about that or not. That is about the charged particles. Photons are released, but they interact with the charged particles. Now you will say, from where the charged particles came? Basically, the charged particles came because very high temperature. It is plasma. At this high temperature of 15 million degree K, hydrogen itself is ionized, it is fused, and everything, all the elements, all 100, 508 elements, they are there. They are in the plasma state. They are not in the neutral state. And because once it is plasma, that is in the form of electrons and protons, means charged particles. Means please remember our school education, that wherever the plasma is there or the current flows, means electricity is there, and perpendicular to that, it is magnetic field. That is very important law. It has been made by the nature, and that governs in the sun also. So it means the sun has both electric field as well as magnetic field, and it is a plasma high temperature body. Okay, this much is important, and the light comes from there, and that light comes to the Earth's atmosphere. It hits up our atmosphere, our greenhouse gases, and then our perfect greenhouse gases, if are there, then re-radiate, and finally that greenhouse gases, they maintain the heat inside our atmosphere, and as a result, we all are surviving, and all the air circulation, important gases like oxygen, etc., they are circulating, and we are breathing. This is about perfect model. But what is really happening also sometimes? So pressure, which I told, inside the sun, this is very important. In the very early time, in the first lecture also, I talked about the pressure, temperature, and density, and many people had questioned. Now in the sun also, from the center of the sun, which I talked, lot of pressure is there, lot of temperature is there, and a lot of density is there. And as a result of that, those fusion reactions took place. Now when we come outside, that is up to the photosphere, everything falls. Pressure falls, temperature falls, density falls. However, the luminosity, that brightness of the, because that comes to the visible radiation in the electromagnetic spectrum. And so the luminosity increases. But as when I was reading the our Jain canonical texts, and in my earlier talk also I showed the God also, that this sun shows very surprising thing. And that surprising thing is that the temperature which was reduced almost, it came from 15 million degree to 6,000, it suddenly goes up. And it goes under those conditions when the pressure is down, density is down, but temperature is increasing. And it goes to the 2 million to 5 million K and 10 million K in the corona. It means this corona is split up, and corona is split up into the three rings, you can say, or three layers, you can say. And if you remember in my first talk, that I showed that our universe, has three rings around it. And not only not only the universe, but our Jain canonical text says that around every system, I don't say around the, I mean Earth or something like that, but around the one system, that is one system means the solar system. Similarly, the Milky Way is a one system, and around all those kinds of independent individual systems also there is a rings. The sun precisely has three rings in terms of what modern science says, that the K corona, F corona, and E corona. These three rings have already been identified, or you can say the corona is split up. You can study in three different ways by the different kind of spectrum. I will not go into that detail. I'm a student of solar physics itself, and solar terrestrial physics, the influence of the sun on the earth, etc., and the climate. But these three are, and if you study it in detail, little bit detail, very briefly, then you will find that it has the composition similar to that which has been described in our Tattvarth Sutra, in our literature. Okay, now let us not go, but this is the things. The sun, which I told, it has the sunspots, that is strong magnetic field. I told you that the sun is an electric body, sun is a magnetic body, sun is a high temperature plasma physics laboratory also. Sun itself plays as a cosmic laboratory. It has many, many kinds of information hidden inside, and we have to derive from it. Now, if it is magnetic body, then what happens? That the magnetic field should be distributed around the North Pole and South Pole. And that is what exactly happens. Yes, that is the poloidal magnetic field is there. Now what happens? I would like to, if you can see me, can you see me, this rubber band in my hand? Can you see all people? Yes? Can you see?
Yes.
I would like to do a very small experiment to reveal how these sunspots are formed on the sun. You just consider this is a north pole of the sun. This is south pole of the sun. I told you that the earth moves around its own axis in 24 hours. Okay. But the sun doesn't do like that. Why sun doesn't do its rotation around its own axis in one kind of a definite period? Because it is a plasma. It is a gaseous body. Its density is relative to us, not that much related to the mass it should happen. So what happens at the equator of the sun, that at the center, that equator, the sun moves faster, but as we go up in the higher latitudes on both the sides, the sun moves slow. At the equator, it moves faster in 25 days, and as we go up and up, it takes 28 days, 30 days, 32 days, and 34 days. So I will just, this rubber bands, just consider they are the lines of force of the sun, just immediate from north, stretched from north to south pole side. And now what I do, please see, I'm just holding this equator and moving faster. One rotation let me complete. I have completed one rotation. What do you see? You will see that there are two nodes. Can you all can you see two nodes?
Yes,
One up
yes,
and one
yes,
down, one towards the
yes,
north side, the other on the south side.
yes,
And
yes,
now,
yes,
now
yes,
if I take another turn, then
mhm,
there are two nodes on the northern and two on the southern.
yeah,
So like that, when the sun moves faster and faster at the equator, because of the slow motion on the high pole side, the actually magnetic field lines are twisted. And when they are twisted too much, and I told in the very beginning, the self-organized criticality law, that aparigraha ka niyam, that applies to this also. So when it is stored whole magnetic field lines, in science we what we call is a flux. Flux is nothing but the number of lines of force passing per unit area, and that when it is becomes too much strong magnetic, then it splits up. Then actually it splits up from this, like this, and it cuts from here, and then when it cuts and splits up, that split part from the main original poloidal field, that is the split part is toroidal field, and that is known as the sunspots. So now when observations were taken of these sunspots, then it was found that this number of sunspots on the sun, it is varying, and sometimes in a given year they are not maximum, and that is known as the sunspot maximum year, and sometimes they are very much minimum. And so between the two maximum, it is by an average 11-year time, and that is known as the sunspot 11-year cycle. And whenever the large number of sunspots are there, it means strong magnetic field is there, and it holds. See, karishma, that Kudrat ka karishma, that suns, when large number of sunspots are there, strong magnetic fields in the whole heliosphere, and it stops all the cosmic rays, which are much more strong protons, and it does not allow to come on the earth. So that is some kind of things happen. Now, whenever the sunspots are very, very high, then strong magnetic fields, as I again told, the self-organized criticality, so it actually erupts. Just like in nature, I told, when lots of energy stored inside the earth through the tectonic plates, then it erupts as earthquakes. Or in the brain, when it is too much thoughts, energy waves are there, then the brain hemorrhage is there. Or when the sand is there, lots of winds, and they start to pile up, but after that one point it starts to fall back, and it goes into the small channels, so it is energy is distributed. Here also you can see that in the sun the lots of eruptions took place, and you can see that large number of these sunspots move also, and they also have strong magnetic fields. So they start to erupt. Large big flares, eruptions take place. And so you can see. So what is that? So nobody, whether it is sun or it is star or any object, celestial object, or on the earth, human being, nobody can store energy or anything beyond its limit. It is a law of nature. It is self-organized criticality that avalanche has to take place. And this is what the example of that avalanche. I was given a big opportunity to study this sun through a big mission. And I was appointed as a project director, principal investigator of one solar Xray spectrometer. And when I told that, based on what I told just few minutes before, that in the corona, the three layers are there, K corona, F corona. So particularly my focus was on a region, that corona, which was not studied in greater detail. And I told that this some kind of iron and nickel should be present in this corona also. So all the elements which we have been talking, but the elements also in greater or in a smaller density, they should be there. So this was an experiment which I was given, and this was launched the whole my mission in 2003. Its name was the Solar X-ray Spectrometer SOX mission, which was actually installed on GSAT-2, geosynchronous satellite. In 2003, it was launched, and for GOTSAT, it was so perfect and precise launching, and it was installed, and it worked until its end up to the 8 to 10 years till the life of the satellite. But unfortunately, the fuel of the satellite was finished. And anyway, in that 8 years, its period, we observed more than 500 solar flares, uh, and finally we could detect, you see, the large number of small to big flares. In the x-axis, it is the time in the different colors. In the y-axis, it is the intensity of the radiation which is coming, and you can see that the small explosions to the big explosions in different energies in the X-rays, it is observed. My aim was also to show to the whole world, and that was the important by Indian Space Research Organization, that yes, this iron and nickel lines are present, and we could detect very successfully that x-axis is the energy range and y-axis is the intensity, and I could detect the line of iron, presence of iron at around 6.8 keV kilo electron volt, and around the 15 keV this nickel. And as a result, because it was the first discovery in the world, and I was awarded the Fellowship of Royal Astronomical Society FRS medal, and we did lot of study on this. Anyway, this was only just I wanted to show that how the instrument does the research. But basically, at the same time, I would like to advocate that it is written, you see, in the canonical text about what about rings around the sun, also rings around the universe, as I told, rings around the systems, and that in one of the system in the corona, when this high temperature flare takes place, then we can see the various kinds of other emissions at total solar eclipse, etc., and endorse that thing. Now I'm coming to the cosmic rays. You see that in the
Professor,
top.
Professor Rajmal Jain, can we take some few questions in between?
Oh, okay. We can take, but I'm going to finish first this natural, and then maybe 2-3 slides, and then we will take before
Okay.
I come to the
Yeah.
maybe 2-3 slides. Okay. So
Okay.
in this top panel, the sunspot numbers are there, and in the bottom panel, the cosmos, that Akash, which is giving the cosmic rays, and you can see they are anti-correlated to each other. So whenever, as I told, sunspots are there, that strong magnetic fields, then they stop the cosmic rays and they don't allow. However, it is some kind of a tug of war, rassakasi between the solar radiance that and the cosmic irradiance. So one time that is heavy, second time means the, you see, Earth is always under the influence either through the sun or through the cosmic rays or in the in-between time. And these cosmic rays are also very, very influential in producing the clouds on the Earth also. Our climate, they change. Even they produce the, nowadays, recently we learned that they help in producing the eddy currents and the earthquakes also, and many more effects. So I have shown here, whenever the sunspots are very high, then the GCR, that galactic Akash Tattva, becomes weak. And whenever the sunspots are weak, the Akash Tattva becomes very strong. However, whenever these cosmic rays are very high, then the cooling chances of the cooling atmosphere is expected. And it happened in the past also. The history of the Earth says that yes, whenever the sunspots were very weak or sun was under the weak cycle, then the Earth went to the ice age time. And whenever the sunspots are larger, then the high solar irradiance was there. And as a result, high floods and the droughts both were there at that time. Anyway, you can see that when the large number of sunspots are there, the sea level rise is there. It has been already shown. And now with the earthquake, whenever the sunspots are less or in the rising or decay phase, then red line, that is earthquakes. All earthquakes we have shown here, they are very high. The massive earthquakes, more than a 5 magnitude on the Richter scale. And similarly, the volcanoes are also massive when the sunspots are less. It means the earthquakes and volcanoes may be greatly related to the cosmic component, while the other things are related to the solar component. And now the unfortunately, why I have taken this whole thing to discuss, because we have been observing since last 40, 50 years, now the sunspots are decreasing on the sun, which is a great concern to all our the scientists and to the whole world people, etc., that why sunspots are, which is a real important effect on the sun after every 11 year, but by one in the next coming cycles, it is keep on reducing. So now, before I come to the next, as I told, the human effect, you can ask me questions. Whoever wants to know the questions, yes, I can ask, take the questions. Thank you. Please.
Okay, so all the participants, they are being unmuted. Just 1 minute. Okay, so any participants, those who have some questions, they can ask Professor Rajmal Jain. They can unmute yourself, their self. Yes, so Renu, you can ask your question. Please unmute yourself and ask any question if you have. Hope participants
Hello?
are okay. Just might be the participants are not unmuted. Now, anybody can unmute themselves and ask question.
Professor, I have a question. So oxygen relieved at certain places, that is where the life exists? आपने कहा था ना कहीं पर भी oxygen release is happening. Is that oxygen release is related to the vanaspati and human and other living beings life
Okay,
at
okay.
that time?
I understood your question.
Uh-huh.
First of all, if you can see my hand,
Yes.
so first, the sun is the major source of the photons, the light. Okay.
Yes.
And that light comes all the way from the sun to the earth, and it goes to heat the earth, that is soil. Okay. And it also gives the light, that heat, to the plant, trees. And through that process, heat process, the tree actually takes or makes the food and that is known as photosynthesis. Photons means
Yes.
why that photons from the sun. Okay, synthesis, that is the between the soil and the tree. Okay, and once that process is good, then only the tree will give much more enriched oxygen outside, and it will be able to absorb the carbon dioxide, CO2. So that cycle depends how much strength is there of that photosynthesis process, that magnitude of that. So if better photosynthesis process there, stronger, then the tree will also evolve nicely. It will become stronger and it will give better oxygen and absorb carbon dioxide. Now, if it is that cycle is disturbed by some techniques, which I will explain now, by human activities, it means that we are not allowing the photosynthesis process, or we are interfering the process. Okay.
So that oxygen from the plants is the one that is sustaining human and other lives which are dependent on oxygen?
Yes, oxygen is there. Already oxygen was there, but
Okay.
that maintaining the whole cycle of
Okay.
oxygen and carbon dioxide, plus I told the greenhouse gases, which I will tell again in my this next presentation. The greenhouse gases means they are composed of 5 important gases. One is water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, etc. And what these greenhouse gases do, not oxygen, this methane, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and water vapor, they absorb the heat, whatever the photons have, given, transmitted to the surface of the land. And then the earth's surface is heated up, and that heat goes back, goes back into the atmosphere. But the greenhouse gases, they absorb that heat partly and maintain the global temperature, say about 15 degrees. And rest of the heat is released again back to the space. Now, if we will increase these greenhouse gases, means what? It will absorb more and more heat, and they will not allow other heat to escape into the space. So then there will be imbalance. So more heat will be inside the Earth's atmosphere. Okay.
Yes.
Thank
Any
you.
other? Yes. Any other wants to ask any question? Renu, have you? Yeah, Suresh Kumar, you can ask. Suresh Kumar, you can unmute yourself and you can ask question. So I think Suresh Kumar is, yeah.
Suresh Kumar, can
Yeah.
you unmute yourself? Suresh Kumar.
Okay. And Renu, she was also asking some question, but she couldn't unmute herself. Yes, if somebody is listening to us, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Oh, so somebody has some problem of unmuting. Let me check why you are not able to unmute yourself.
What you can do, Maharaj
Okay,
sir,
just,
first,
yeah.
first you mute all the participants and then unmute
Okay.
everybody.
Okay. Now I think mute participants. Yeah. I have unmuted all participants. Please check whether you are able to unmute yourself or not. And let me know.
Yeah, we are able to unmute ourselves.
Okay. So Suresh Kumar, Renu, and some other people who want to ask anything, they can ask. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to exit and rejoining and then unmute, madam. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. My question is there any identification of, because as per scripture, the godness are there. So, is there any identification of 5 sense jiva or 1 sense jiva or any kind of sense jiva as per your scientifically identified, sir, in sun? What do you think? And sun is
Identify. No, hello, let me understand your question. Your question appears to be very good. You want to ask me the identification of 5 senses or 1 sense in air, you want to say, or in hydrosphere? Where you want to ask? Where we have
sun,
identified?
in the sun, because your today topic was sun. So in the sun itself, Agni Kai. Imagine that Agni Kai. Do you see any in the research during your research time? Any scientifically anyone addressed one sense Jiva is extant in the sun? It may be hydrosphere or anything nearby sun.
No, no, just like what we say, the senses, touch, hearing, okay, the
Yeah, Jiva,
breathing
Jiva.
and all those things.
Kind of Jiva,
Ah,
because Jiva is identification by senses only. So I am
So,
talking in terms
no,
of
I understood your question. I understood, okay. You say that one sense of small jiva, if you want to say, but what we say, this whole sun, Agni, is itself is a jiva. That is what concept is. Whole
no,
Vayu,
that is
Vayu
Agni
is a
Kaya.
one
But
jiva.
it is not a Jiva, no, sir. That is Agni
No,
Kaya.
no, you please, no, let me complete. Now you please don't speak, okay? Why
Right.
whole Vayu is one jiva, whole Jal, that water is a one jiva. Similarly, Agni is a one jiva, and it has
Yeah.
been it has been written in the that these jivas are for the interdependent to each other. Okay,
Yeah.
interdependent to each other. So sun, as I told in the very beginning, is the source of the life generating on all other spheres, on all other components. And that is the Agni. And so it is a life, it is a source of energy. Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
No,
next
in the
question.
as per scripture, we believe that sun is a Jyotish Deva.
Sun is a Jyotish Deva, of course.
So Jyotish Deva, he cannot be a one sense. He is a five sense, na Deva.
No. This is a celestial object. Jyotish Deva, but it is a celestial object. And it is written that the Agni is a one sense G. And
Correct,
you say,
sir. I understand. But for
if you
example,
consider,
in our
no,
in our-
if you consider, please let me complete. Moon is also Jyotish Deva.
Yeah.
And all other astronomical objects like planets, stars, okay? But that is not a five sense devas like that kind. I mean, in that context of the science which we am talking, in that context, they are not five sense. But the radiation is important, and radiation is always the source of energy.
no, what am I trying to say? For example, our own body is a Aadhar, it's a basic element. Inside the body, one sense Jiva is there. There are a lot of worms are there. Similarly, sun itself, you are saying one sense Jiva, or in the sun body occupying one sense Jiva.
Okay,
Whole sun,
I understand what you want to conjecture similarity with our body, that there are many microorganisms, bacteria inside our body.
yes.
Okay, that is one sense. But similarly, if you are asking for the sun, then inside the sun at such a high temperature of 15 million degree K to even all the way up to photosphere 6,000 degree K, so we have not seen any kind of such kind of a organism, microorganism or bacteria at all at the moment. That there is no research which has endorsed that that kind of life is there of even the single sense or any other. Okay, only it is a source of radiation, and it has extremely high gravitational force. So both the radiative force, that is light which is coming out, and it is kept intact, that gravitational, that whole spherical body is existing over there, and the material is kept inside by the gravitational force. So all the things which are written, they are applicable on the sun also. That much I can say. I cannot
And
say
one
that
more,
sun five sense kind of a life or like that.
but whole sun you are considering as a one sense.
I'm sorry.
Whole 100% sun you are considering as a only single sense.
Yes.
Yes,
As
whole
on date.
sun.
Right.
Yes, whole sun as a one jiva, one single sense jiva. Yes, that is what I'm saying.
Okay.
That means
Here
sun,
in-
you are saying sun is consciousness.
Sun is
Consciousness is having, if it's one sense, then sun is a conscious.
Okay, I think you were
Chaitanya.
not there in you were not there in the last talk. You were there. I told about the important thing, pran and paryapti. What you are saying, they are the part of paryaptis. So even for example, the tree, it has only the touch, but it has as I told, photosynthesis, food, ahar, granthi is also already there. It has the hearing capacity also. And so by the paryaptis, all these things are there. Sun has all those paryaptis. That is ahar, hearing, and everything. Because of the time constraint, I could not say that it gives sound also, and it hears also whatever we say. Okay, so that kind of thing is possible. Yes, it is there.
For example, Jeev is identification with Upayoga as a Chaitanya Gun, Jnana and Darshan. If it is one sense Jiva, that also having Jnana, na?
Yes, yes, yes. That is,
As per
but
side,
that
as
is
per
what I.
side.
But so you have to split up with the pran plus paryapti. Okay, so that paryapti depends on the karma. Paryapti is a directly dependent on the karma. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank
Here,
you. Thank you. Because you are
here I would
Thank
like to say one thing, Professor Rajmalji Jain.
Yes.
According to Jain scriptures, there are astronomical gods. So there is one god who is, you can say, who is governing this sun planet, or you can say that that is the abode of that sun god. And there is moon god who is, and the moon is the abode, or you can say the place where the moon god can go. And mostly it is said that it is not all the times available on those planets, but yeah, they can go there and they can live there for the time being. So but these are the celestial bodies, and they are earthly bodies actually. They are not what we say consisting of fire-bodied living beings, but they are consisting of the earth-bodied living beings. So they are earthly bodies, as per my knowledge about the planets. So that's why they are not considered as fire-bodied living beings. And we say that all the times these fire-bodied living beings, or earth-bodied living beings, or water-bodied living beings, or air-bodied living beings, so they are always live in collective way. You cannot identify isolated one single fire-bodied living being, because they are so subtle and it is very difficult to detect them. So they are always live in a collective way, form, and that's why you can find innumerables of such kind of living beings in a body. So far as these planets are concerned, they are mainly earthly bodies, or you can say they are made of earth particles rather than fire particles. Yeah, they can what we say release heat, and they can produce such kind of high temperature. That can be the work of those bodies, but they are mainly earthly bodies, as I know.
Maharaj Sahib, I'm sorry to say, but
Yes.
whatever you are saying, the bodies, but this is what I talked. Bodies are there, and this is a one system, okay, which we
Yes.
call as a solar system.
Yeah.
And in that solar system, all the planets are like earthly bodies. But there is always within every one system, if it has to be maintained, then there is a one star is required. We have many such kind of a solar systems, thousands and millions and billions in the whole galaxies. Okay, so
Yes.
and this sun is basically completely different kind of an object relative than all the other planets. So planets have a different kind of a physics, science, than the science of physics of the sun. We should realize that thing. Sun is the basic source of energy, first of all, and that energy maintains whatever the life existing on all other planets. If you withdraw the sun, immediately everything will be finished on these earthly planets or all the earth-like bodies. which are composed in this system. So
Yeah,
we should consider only that part. We have to understand very clearly from the canonical texts also, and we should apply over here. And most of the things which I have seen, they are matching very clearly. If I consider this sun as a star and whatever it is behaving and however it is, I mean, I am not showing today, even in the, because in the next lectures it will come, that how the trees actually endorse the photosynthesis process in thousands or hundreds of years time scale, which they have received from the sun. And they endorse, they give the direct evidence that yes, the sun is the basic source of energy and how it maintains the climate.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
true. Yes, but just I want to know that do you understand? Say that this sun energy and the fire are equivalent, or they are same?
Different.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Fire and sun energy are same thing, or they are different in their nature?
Okay, the sun energy is different, means in the sense of the temperature and the photons which are of the energy scale which are coming. And this fire which we do here, say from the matchbox or by the
Yes.
yagna. So how you
Yes.
will differentiate? That we differentiate by the spectrum.
Okay.
And on the spectrum, on the electromagnetic spectrum.
Okay.
And that is very clearly already that work also has been done. The spectrum from the yagna and from the fire, from the gas, from outside, from the wood fire, forest fires, and the light from the which is coming from the sun. Okay.
Yeah. So the sun energy can be considered as the electronic energy as we are seeing today.
Electromagnetic, no, not electronic, electromagnetic.
Okay, electromagnetic. You know, what is the bulb is what we say giving light. So that light and the light which is coming from sun is somehow different.
Yes, it is different. And
Okay.
that is difference comes on the wavelength or the energy. Wavelength, energy are the related. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
Okay,
thank you.
let me explain for all the people. Small formula. E equal to, we call H nu. H is the Planck constant, but E is the energy, and it is directly proportional to the frequency. Okay, or frequency of the wavelength. I told in the very beginning, small packets, they are moving, but basically it is governed by the wave. And so this is the wavelength. And so nu is the frequency of that wave. And nu, that frequency is inversely proportional to wavelength. So whenever the frequency is very high, then the wavelength is always small. And when the frequency is small, the wavelength will be larger. So the wave can move to the long distances.
Okay.
Yeah. And the bulb which you told, that gives the light, but not the heat. So there are two important, and the sun radiation which is coming, it is giving the light as well as the heat and all other forms of energy.
So what about the radiations which are given in as a chemotherapy? And so they are being produced by light and by electronic energy and electromagnetic sources?
So they are also electromagnetic, but of the lower energy, extremely low energy.
Okay.
Extremely low energy process. We cannot give such high energies or even the high cosmic energy, which is in the very, very high form.
And what about the solar energy, which is being used today?
That is coming is from the visible light. So, okay, when I say electromagnetic spectrum of the light of the sun, means it produces on one side very high frequency, that is X-rays, gamma rays. Okay.
Yes.
Then it comes to the extreme ultraviolet and ultraviolet rays, which are very harmful to the health of the human being. Number one. Okay. Then comes to the visible light, which we receive the light from the photosphere, the sun, and the photosynthesis process, or our body gets, and we are also heated up. Energy comes in our body. And then goes to the still lower frequency radio waves, infrared waves, infrasonic, that is thought waves, etc.
Okay.
So the sun actually covers the whole electromagnetic spectrum, which we do not, we are talking here is a part of that whole thing, very small section.
Okay. So thank you very much for clarifying all these different types of
Basically,
energies.
I'm sorry I have a difference with you, but the sun
No, because we are trying to understand and trying to
and
connect
all the
our-
planets are of course earth bodies kind of a thing, and the formation system when these astronomical bodies were being formed, the principal theories of formation are different for the star, and the formation of the all planets etc. is slightly different. So basically the difference comes also based on the gravitational force, and that inside that how much temperature is generated and thermonuclear fusion reaction started or not. There are many other planets which are larger bodies just like a Jupiter and Saturn, but the temperature actually they could not achieve, and so they are the much more cooler bodies, and they don't have that. So they are Earth-like planets, Earth-like bodies.
Okay. So thank you. Bindisha, this is the last question which we are taking, and after you can deliver your talk or continue your talk. Bindisha, you can ask. Okay, so Bindisha, you have raised the question hand. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, and there was one question that what is the main cause of climate change?
Yes, that is what I will explain now. That is the second part.
Okay. So now you can start your discussion or continue your discussion on next slides.
Okay. Yeah. So now the first part which I told is about the natural causes of the climate change, basically, or I should say the natural climate system, which I talked, how it is being formed, how it varies over the larger time scales of hundreds to thousands of years, etc. But now on the short time scale, for our short benefits, the human activities, we people are actually doing so much, I mean, illegal activities, I should say, just for our ego, for our passion, for our greed, for our to become rich in a very fast rate, etc. So what we have done, we have increased our activities and particularly our luxurious lifestyle, etc. So what are the factors which are actually causing now this the climate change? That is what I want to explain.
Okay, you can unmute. You can unmute yourself. Yes. Now you can, you can discuss what you want to say.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, there was a question in the very early time, I think by some lady, I don't know her name, but what are the factors, gases? You see, I told some 4 or 5 gases. They are the greenhouse gases, that the carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, nitrous oxide, and like the chlorofluorocarbon, etc. Now what happens? There are some natural content is there. But by doing our activities, as I told, because of our greed or to become satisfy our ego, etc., or our pride, we are disturbing that ratio which is required of those greenhouse gases, and we are changing their ratios, and as a result, our climate change is there. So what are the factors which are changing? One is the transportation. I will take one by one. Electricity generation, our industry and manufacturing, agriculture, even oil and gas development, our buildings and construction, deforestation, and then our lifestyle, etc. Then, of course, we are doing a lot of violence against the microbes, small sense lives and animals, but that I will not consider in my today's lecture. That I will take in my next 2-3 lectures, and I will explain how that is much more cruelty we people as a human being we are doing. So I would like to take the first is how much distribution is there, and we are intervening, we are interfering the direct and indirectly in this whole greenhouse gases. You can see that how much percentage I have already shown that the transport is playing the key role in increasing the carbon dioxide or the methane, or I mean greenhouse gases, etc. Even the building construction, electricity generation, industries and manufacturing. There is a direct component of the greenhouse gas component changing, and there is a direct, indirect also how much carbon dioxide we are emission we are throwing inside the atmosphere. So first, basically, let us understand, and I told that how climate is generated. The sun actually giving the radiation. Sun is the basic source of energy. That is why it is Agni word came actually from it only, from the sun, and that the Agni, that is energy itself, is considered as a life, or one sense jiva. It gives the light, heats also, as well as the light to the all components, even to the our cryosphere, that is ice, mountains, etc., to the land, to the oceans, and everybody gets energized, even the atmosphere also, and how the volcanoes, earthquakes generally take place. But if we are doing some other kinds of activities, then we are enhancing this and disturbing all these natural systems. I would like to show this slide very importantly, where I have compared that how much if we are not intervening, and if everything is naturally perfect of a greenhouse, then what happens? Whatever the sunlight comes in our atmosphere or on the earth, then it is being absorbed by our all the greenhouse gases, and then in the afternoon, it is everything is the reflected back to the space. And so most of the heat is, I mean, absorbed, and then the whole planet is kept warm. And if the greenhouse gases were not there, please underline, if the greenhouse gases were not there, the life of us would have not been possible, because the whole planet would have undergone to the enormous heat, okay? And when we are doing as a human people activity, then what we are increasing the component of greenhouse gases, that carbon dioxide, methane, etc. And as a result, more absorption is there. And when more absorption will be there, it means the Earth's atmosphere temperature will enhance. And that is what we call as global warming, or the poisonous gases, just like methane and nitrous oxide emission will be there, that will cause the many more health effects, etc. So the outside escape will be very, very small. This is the important part. So human activities are much more stronger after this industrial era started, say from 1850 or so. So in last 150 or 200 years, we have been keep on increasing our activities to destroy our own climate. First point which I told, the transportation and the increasing number of transport the goods, manufacturing items, etc. And it has 24%, you see, this transportation, and it emits large amount of carbon dioxide. And you can see the large number of these fumes of the carbon dioxide. I have shown by the arrow also that, and it actually kills the two kinds of microbes and small animals. One in the air, which is at the lower height, and at the surface also, that small animals of 1 to 3 cents, they are also being killed because of this high carbon dioxide fumes. This is very dangerous. So somebody asked question, why climate change is there? The one important factor is the transport. The next is electricity generation. you know that the electricity is generated also by the several different systems. The safe we call, of course, the nuclear system, but there are a large number of still in USA as well as in other parts of the globe, the thermal power plants are there. And in order to maintain the heat of the turbines properly running, the coal is burned. So that whole fossil fuel is actually being used, whether it is in transportation or even electricity generation. And as a result of fossil fuel burns, that is oil, petrol, diesel, coal, so carbon dioxide and methane gases are emerging out, and the large emission comes out even from the electricity generation. So these two, transport and electricity generation, contribute a lot to the climate change. Third is our industry and manufacturing. You see that from the thermal tunnels, lot of carbon dioxide is emitting out from this industrial chimneys, and they are also contributing significantly in this climate change. One important thing through the industry and this climate manufacturing, I would like to say that almost two-thirds of the whole pollution, what we say pollution is not only carbon dioxide, but the trees which are almost finished and they throw their pollutants down to the earth. They are also hanging around in the whole atmosphere, and they actually cause lot of the breathing problem to the many human beings. So this global warming is basically because of the now three, four things. Methane gas, which is also thrown by these industries. Number two, carbon dioxide, and the nitrous oxide, which is thrown inside this atmosphere. And as a result, the whole temperature, because of the lot of heat which is coming from the sun, it is absorbed here, and we are not allowing to escape outside into the space, as I showed in one of the picture. Similarly, because of industries, I told air pollution is also there, and they are throwing many things inside the toxic material in the atmosphere itself, that they are actually putting outside somewhere, wherever they say that this land is of free and it is of not use. And they also throw in the some water logging also. So all these things contribute a lot in the air pollution. Then they are putting all these toxic materials inside the water, even in the reservoirs, wells, even they also throw in the oceans, and this is killing. Please remember, this is against the law of nature, against the law of ahimsa, against the law of aparigraha. They are directly killing to the microbes and other small animals of 1 to 3 cents, even the fishes and other lives, which is much more dangerous. And overall, the climate change is because of the significantly by this industry and manufacturing. Industry and manufacturing, the soil pollution, because we are using nowadays the pesticides, fertilizers, chemicals, and whatever that soil is becoming day by day the of no use. And finally, that goes, soil flows during the rains inside the ocean also. So further actually polluting the water also. That is another. Then all the our health actually things, and World Health Organization has told that the most of this air pollution, water pollution, as well as this soil pollution is causing the many things, diseases, just like with the chest infection, then this lungs cancers, then the heart diseases, almost by and large, most of the such kind of diseases. And particularly for the children, we should be always concerned, and these kinds of activities is keep on increasing. Now we can ask question, why it is so much we are doing all these kinds of things. Previously also, people 200 years back and 500 years back, they were also staying on this green planet very nicely. Why? The only answer comes because we have increased our greed. We want more. We want to become in the race to the much richer than the others. So all these activities are taking place, which are, and as I told in the beginning, the self-organized criticality, and it will happens even now also. So there is no question why we should do. We have to go and living everything over here. But this is, you see, I have personally also have seen, not only in USA when I was a student over there, I have seen in Europe also, and I have been observing in Asia and many countries in general and in India particularly, that the deforestation has started. Now deforestation we want to do. Why we want to do? Why we want to do deforestation? There is hardly any land left, you see, as a dense forest in India or in many other countries. And where the wildlife will go, where they will hide, where they will make their house, where there will be dens for them will be there, where the other animals will stay. So all the, we have disturbed the whole biodiversity. So biodiversity has changed, so the climate change will be there. And climate change and biodiversity are complementary to each other. I have seen that even in the agriculture, a lot of whatever the fertilizers which are used, now fertilizers, when they interact with the air, as well as when the rainfalls are there, they interact, and then they leave the fumes, all those fertilizers, which are not healthy for the human beings and for the children. So a lot of agriculture, as a result of that, not only the crops are good, which will affect directly to the human health, but because of the fertilizers interaction with the soil as well as with the air and water, the all the kinds of problems are appearing. The other important part which I wish to say, many of you might be not knowing that, say for example, Food and Agriculture Organization in USA and in North America, this where the large number of livestock they keep, and then they kill them in the slaughterhouse. While doing this, slaughtering the animals, they use the various kinds of technologies, chemicals, etc. And as a result, the methane is coming outside. This is very important, not only methane, but even the carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide, which are the most dangerous for the whole our climate change. So this is very, and even India is not much behind. I should not protect. I should tell rather the India is in the front line in killing the animals and preparing that the whole meat production for other countries. Similarly, the oil actually and the gas, which is a production is there. Oil and gas, please remember, I will humbly request to all the participants, oil and gas is such a fossil that during its production, at every step, it will produce the methane, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, and all other even poisonous gases at every stage. That is when you are dwelling from the inside, when you are fracturing it, when it is goes under the process of manufacturing, I mean different processes, every time the fumes will be there. And there is a study, I think I came to know that those people who are working for this kind of various kind of processes for the oil and gas development, they are much more, their lungs are affected and they die as a result of the lungs cancer and the chest problems and heart problems, etc. Unfortunately, the many governments are not even concerned of those where the oil wells are there. In last 500 years, let us say, as a function of time, now the oil wells, which are now not operating, but they are still open. They have been left over. Millions of such wells are there. And from them, the fumes of the methane are coming. So there was a research study that how much of the methane is still coming out from them. And you will be surprised to note that the millions of tons, only in 1 year, 2018, it was measured that this much was, I think, 2,80,000 metric tons only in 1 year. So you can imagine if you integrate over time of last few hundreds of years, how much methane is stored over there. So our whole ratio proportion of greenhouse gases has changed. So building construction, similarly, I will not go into the now much more detail because time is over and there will be not much time. But what has happened, people want to now live in a very luxurious style and in the high-rise buildings. Now they don't know the high-rise buildings as a force, it is against the gravitational law. And as you go up and up, you interact directly with the different profile of the density profile and temperature profile of the atmosphere. And as a result, you are killing yourself, of course, means your health, you are playing with them. But the basically such construction of this such large or high-rise buildings is also a some kind of a emissions emissions of methane and the nitrous oxide, because the whatever kind of bricks which are used and the other material which is being used in the building construction is from the different kind of uh, clay and all these things, and that uh, heating during the process, etc., that produces always methane. So deforestation, there is a one example, uh, the Canada I have shown in the picture, that is satellite images, that the whole boreal, the whole inside the soil itself is washed out. Forest, because of deforestation. Earlier in the beginning, they started to cut the trees. Then they throw out the roots also. Then they went inside, and finally now it is everything is damaged. Now deforestation, why it bad is, I mean, important concern. I told in the when I was addressing a question that trees basically absorb the carbon dioxide because of the very strong photosynthesis process. Then they will be very good to absorb the carbon dioxide and they will give oxygen in the return. But now if there will be less number of forests, less number of trees, and even the less number of rich trees, strong trees, then the oxygen will be less, much more carbon dioxide. There is another reason why I'm taking this point. You see, we generally call the Brahma Muhurat. Brahma Muhurat is generally in the morning 3 a.m. to 6 a.m., but particularly 3 to 5 a.m. Now that is the time when the high because of the very cool temperature, that temperature is low, so density is always very high. So ozone is higher density than the oxygen, and ozone starts to come down. Now, if such situation when the deforestation is there, then the ozone, the good ozone, which we call as a good ozone, that will not come on. And where the ozone, that Brahma Muhurat will be helpful to the human beings. This is all we are doing, not the nature is doing. Nature is making, I mean, building the whole climate. However, it is changing over hundreds to thousands of years as per their course of cycle, changing the climate as per the Kal Chakra which I showed. But in the short time, because of our activities, we want to actually make all these things in such a way that we are trying to kill the species, large number of species in just like I have written 25 million metric tons of such kind of a poisonous radiations which comes, and because of the vehicles, etc. I just would like to end my talk with saying with the lifestyle, because of our industrial lifestyle is such has become, because of based on what? Based on need, based on our greed, based on our food styles, non-vegetarian food also, and our clothes. We need this thing, we need that thing also. So all those kinds of things. So what has happened? Because of when your need goes more than what you exactly need. I remember when I was a school student and was reading a chapter in the Mahatma Gandhi, and he told, when your need becomes great, then the nature cannot help you. Otherwise, for everybody, it is there in this nature can take care. But now the situation has become instead of need, there is a greed, there is a ego, there is a passion, there is a luxurious requirements, and that those are the some kind of a footprints of our human being nowadays. And because of that, the whole climate is changing. I have considered only few points today, not all, because the other lectures will consider how we are doing, how we are our activities still much more in a cruel way. In a cruel way we are doing, and we are in with cruelty we are changing our climate. So ahimsa and aparigraha, which I want to say, if we are not following and we are not practicing them, then there will be, I mean, no hope to alive furthermore. Rather, there are much more uh, chances, there are very much likely chances for extinction. And extinction is, of course, already there, I mean, as per our culture, but not, I mean, so early. But if we are doing our this activities in this way, and if we are running with the high speed to destroy our climate, then extinction may be faster and faster. So what I wish to say, this, whatever the causes which we are doing, these causes I wrote in the beginning, I told that the three: hydrosphere, geosphere, and our atmosphere, and the other two sources are there. But whatever we are doing is in, or whatever the that we are touching here, I told in the under the self-organized criticality, it is a matter. It is drugged. And at any given location which we are doing, shit. So whatever we are doing is as a function of matter, region, as a function of time, and as per our desire, which I have described here over here, our thoughts. Oh, I need much more gold. I need much beautiful building, house, decorative house at this. I need the leather belt, leather clothes. So all those kinds of, as much we want to do our, then thoughts are provoking the things. It means we are doing cruelty against our climate. And if we really we are serious to protect our climate, then we should follow and practice ahimsa and aparigraha. Thank you very much. And these are the two. Oh, still I have 4-5 slides. Very important. There was a question. What is the evidence? So this is what carbon dioxide is going up, and as a function of that, over the last 6,700 years, there is a temperature is also going. But I would like to show evidence. There was a question, and here it is a concrete evidence. Dear participants, please see and appreciate work by my student Kronal Patel. We undertook the study of oceans of Gujarat. I will take 5 minutes, Mataji. Please allow me.
Yes, you can take.
You can see we undertook the study of oceans around Gujarat, this Bay of Cambay, that Khambat ki Khadi, that near this Valsad also, and the near Kutch Bhuj, all. And what we studied, the sea surface temperature and the emission of carbon dioxide. And you can see this, the sea surface temperature is increasing as a function of carbon dioxide over the last 60-70 years time, because carbon dioxide data in India is available only very recently. But this carbon thing directly says, please, dear participants, this sea surface temperature is increasing. It means it is a direct indication, it is an indicator that the level of the sea, oceans is also increasing. And as a result of this, and this paper is published in a very high impact factor of geology, ecology, and landscape of Taylor Francis. And you can appreciate that they have appreciated our this work relative to the other countries people. They told that yes, although data is for less number of years, but it directly shows that the sea surface temperature, and this is at the Cambay Khambat ki Khadi. Now I would like to give one very clear-cut example. You can see here, there is a habitat, that is a small village over here. And this is the data at the time of the 1988 or something like that. And in 2018, that is in almost 40 years, the whole ocean has come all the way up to here, and it is approaching toward this village. So all the remote sensing images as per our rules, and this paper even was also published 1 year earlier, and that paper was in 22, this was in 21. And much more surprising result, which you can see in the Kutch area, and you can see here a habitat, that village is here. Earlier the ocean level was here, and now it has almost about to submerge in the ocean. So the government, we approached to the government, we are requested that please vacate this village, otherwise people, there will be fatalities, calamities will be there, large number of people will die. So with this, finally we can ask what effect will be there of all these various kinds of our activities and climate change. Because climate will change means the hot temperature will be there. Temperature will go up. If temperature will go up, means the airborne life will die. Even the life in the sea also will die, and the life above the surface and inside the surface, they will also go and die. There will be large number of and severe storms will be there. If storms will be there, the more number of lives will die, more fatalities will be there. More storms mean earthquakes and volcanoes will also be there. Then there the rising ocean, which I told, droughts will be there, floods may be there. All these things will change the whole society and the sea surface temperature, etc. Even the species, I am always worried about the microbes and small species, because they are the most important entity for the climate. And I will explain in my next few lectures. So as a result, if the climate will such significantly will change, then there will be no food because of failure of crops. And I sincerely, in my last lecture also, I told that the next agenda of the governments of all countries will be either to manage how to manage the disasters, or to how to manage the agriculture or the crops. That will be the major area in the next century. And similarly, more, I mean, the health risk will be there, poverty and displacement. So finally, what will happen? It happened in the last time also. Many hundreds of thousands of years, every time under every cycle, the socio-economic imbalance will be, or the balance will be disturbed, that will be imbalance will be there. Bhagwan Mahavir, Lord Mahavir also told about this aspect very seriously, because at that time, during his penance meditation time, or he actually left his house to undertake this meditation, because he knew that there are various kinds of social evils, indisciplines are there, problems, issues are there, and one of the issues was this social disparity was there. So what at the end I would like to say, that the people must realize, and I hope they will also realize very soon, maybe in this century itself, because this century itself is going to give the lesson to the people, and they will realize the power of ahimsa, power of aparigraha. With this, thank you very much. I took little more time today, and I'm sorry for that.
No,
Thank
no,
you very much.
no.
And today, my throat was also not good.
No. And the lecture was very clear, very audible, and it was really very informative, very knowledgeable. And we couldn't come to know this much scientific studies which are going on behind all these climate change problem and global warming problem, and how the humans are creating such kind of problems by their own luxurious ambitions. So that you have highlighted, and that is very important for us to understand that we should not at least contribute in increasing such kind of methane gases or poisonous gases which are harming the ozone and also creating such kind of natural calamities. So I would request all the participants, if they have any questions, they can ask Professor Rajmal Jain for 5 minutes. After we will close our session. Yeah, so everybody can unmute themselves. Yeah.
Yes. Is there
Yes.
any question?
If somebody has any question, they can ask Bindisha. First of all, you can ask your question. Then Suresh Kumar and other people. You can unmute yourself. Please unmute and ask. So a lot of studies are going on in the field of science, and all these
Hello.
researches are going on with the support of government.
I think there is some question. So, somebody is asking. Hello.
Yes.
Sir, hello. Because
Yeah,
I have to exit again joining, then we can unmute ourselves. Okay, the
okay, so
question is-
now you are unmuted. You can ask your
Yeah.
question. And Professor
Anyone want to
Rajmal
ask
Jain,
question?
can you stop your sharing of presentation?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Anyone who want to ask question, they have to exit again, rejoining, then able to unmute. Now my question is, the recently China has made artificial sun, which withstand for a few minutes. So how your views? The sun is look like one sense, or it's a totally material in nature?
No, that is what we call as a laboratory sun. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Just you can stop the sharing so that we can see the participants and you can
Yeah.
answer to them.
Okay. Can you see me now?
Yeah, we can see you. Just we are thinking that this presentation can be stopped so that all participants can be seen together.
Can you see me now? And
Yes,
everything is stopped.
yes, we are seeing.
Okay, what I was addressing his question, what I am saying, so we generally have in Japan, for example, Earth simulator. In China, sun simulator. Because we cannot study the sun, inside, internal part where this, I told you, 15 million degree K temperature, okay? And how this hydrogen is converted into helium thermonuclear fusion reaction, etc. So a simulator, a small kind of a laboratory model is always in some countries made, and they try to understand how the internal part of the sun works. Okay, so that is the, but that doesn't mean that it is the sun. It is some kind of a laboratory model of that. Hello.
Yes. Okay. So Renusha, would you like to ask any question? Please unmute yourself. Okay.
So I was
Okay.
telling that in Japan, for example, Earth simulator is there. Now we cannot go some 500 kilometers below the surface of the Earth, 1,000 kilometers. Okay. So what is actually really inside and how the heat actually comes from beneath of the Earth to the upper surface. So those kinds of many structure, how the earthquakes take place, volcanoes erupt. So in order to study all those phenomena, a small laboratory is made, and that we call as a simulator. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, we are listening. We are listening, sir. Okay, sir. And for example, you see our heart is working and pumping and supply energy to whole body. So heart is source of energy. It doesn't mean that art is a jiva, it's a conscious subject. It is a material nature only. Science also is accepting. Similarly, it's a source of sun is a source of energy. So it doesn't mean that you are thinking it's a old sun itself for one sense. Okay, even though it's working consciously and precisely, but it's look like it's a source of energy only.
Okay, what is your name? Is Suresh Kumar? Am I right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. In fact, I think I have to give one lecture on the sun itself. And if I give you one lecture on the sun, then you
Yes,
may
sir. Yes, sir.
realize what do I mean. Because in
Yes,
short,
sir. Yes, sir.
my topic is climate. And the source of the climate to form and evolve and maintain is the sun and the cosmic rays. But I cannot say the whole sun. Actually, did you hear that I did not touch one point? It was written because of the strong magnetic field when the sunspots are there, then there is a flow of solar wind. Wind is nothing but the ions, the charged particles which are continuously coming out of the sun, continuously, all 24/7. Okay, with the
Yeah.
average velocity of 400 kilometer per second. This is the normal velocity. But when the strong magnetic field is not there, then the weak solar winds will be there. And when the strong magnetic, then the strong winds will be there. Number one. But if you convert this speed of this solar wind, please listen now very carefully. If you
Yeah.
convert energy, that is energy of the speed of the ions, and then you listen acoustically, now converting that energy into the acoustic speech, it gives the sound of Om. Om. And if you go to the lower energies, it is only for one energy we have done so far.
Even the sir, sorry to disturb. Even sound is a puddal. It's a ajiva. Sound is a property.
Please, let me complete. I know
Yeah, yeah.
all those. Okay, please don't. I will come. Let me complete. You will be surprised. Now,
Yeah.
if you go still down and lower energy of the solar wind, okay, which NASA did not undertake that project because it was not of their interest. It was of interest of my religion. Then
Yeah.
it would have come Arihantan. Okay,
Yeah.
Hari, and even if you are in USA, even Maharashtra was also in USA, they can approach to the NASA to consider again that project and convert everything of the whole spectrum of solar wind into the speech. And then you will know that the Bhasha Vargana, and Bhasha Vargana is a Pudgal, which you are saying.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it is giving all the information about that mantra. Okay, it may have another mantras also. I don't know. It only we can speculate because only we heard is Om only. And Om and Namo Harihan. Maybe what next? I don't know. I don't want to. Overestimate the things. Whatever has been done, that much only. But all the so you first read Pran and Paryapti. I think you automatically you will clarify your questions. Okay.
Correct, sir. That Paryapti, we are getting within 48 minutes. Antar Muhurta. But sun
That
is
is
continuously
one
working.
Mahurat. No. You have not heard my all the lectures, unfortunately. And I have to talk about the Mahurat. Mahurat means 48 minutes. Okay. And then you have to bring into the this thing moon also, and then the periods which are interacting with the earth. What Maharaj Sahib was saying, that this god and these are the only earthly planets, and but it is not only like that. I'm sorry to say, but there is much more actually astronomic things are involved in. And it was already known, and it is written in our Bhadrabahu Samhita also, and even it was known to Maya civilization people also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It-
Thank you.
It is
if
written
somebody-
in Maya civilization as astronomical books in their books. It is already written.
Okay.
Anyway,
about
thank
it.
you, sir. Thank you for your
But,
sharing
but,
knowledge.
but perhaps if some time will be there, I mean, I will give a much more elaborate talk on the sun and the sun
Yeah,
earth.
please, if you have time in future, please one section separately for sun and stars. Thank you, sir.
Sun
Yeah.
and star, first sun and earth relationship in much better way, and how the sun I am considering as a single sense life. Okay.
And
And
one
always-
more point I want to
Acha,
discuss.
Acha, one thing you can ask Maharaj Sahib also, Mataji. Life
Yes.
means
No, no.
what? Life
No,
means
sir.
what? Life means energy. Okay.
No, correct, sir.
Soul
In
is
science
also,
also agreeing.
soul is
water
energy.
Water is. Yeah. Water is required
Water is
for
energy.
any life.
Water is a dravya. Water is a dravya, and dravya is a, when you consider as a one sense, but dravya, soul is always energy, and soul has many powers.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Yeah. In the sun, we
energy.
don't have any water particles.
No, sun has lot of water particles. Oh, what do you
Ah,
mean?
Okay, sir. Thank you. In future,
You have
if
to
you have
study.
time, please, sir.
That is why I told you that I have to take only 2-3 lectures only on the sun.
Yes,
yeah.
Professor Ji, please.
Okay, so that will be interesting part of our next course, Jain astronomy. Okay.
Yes.
And that course, Professor Rajmal Jain again will take a leading role to explain all the astronomical bodies, their functions, their energies, and their chemical reactions, whatever is there. So
एक
today,
क्लास ज्यादा बढ़ाना चाहिए,
today
एक
this
क्लास
is
ज्यादा करना
Can
चाहिए
you,
राजमल जी
can
का.
you see this book? Can you see
Yes.
this book?
yes, Nirmal Jain. Yes.
Nirmal Sethi, yes. In this book, you see, there are 3 chapters, but 2 chapters.
Yes.
They say that since last thousands of years before present,
Mhm.
Jainism in one or the other form was already existing on this earth. And I would like to give only one example, if I can show you it quickly. Quickly. Just a minute. Just I have an evidence photograph of can you see these photographs?
Yes.
Can you see?
Yeah. Yeah, we are seeing.
Where are these, Malu? These are in Peru. These
Oh.
are in Peru. Okay. And this was Samosharan kind of a style of temples in Guatemala.
Oh, wow.
And 1 minute, if I get. Yes. Can you see this small idols kind of things?
Yes.
I don't know. Is this clear to
Yeah.
you or not?
It is
You see
not
the
so much clear.
But one thing, no, I cache loch. What I will do,
Uh-huh.
I will send a PDF of this book to you. You can then upload for
please.
everybody else. And there is a direct evidence through this, although the whole civilization destroyed because of the tsunami, but still these few things are left over and the government is taking very seriously. I am proud of the Peru government, and they considered our request also. And you see, Kesh Loch, it is only in Jainism. There is no other religion in the world where this Kesh Loch is there. Am I right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
this ahar and this what you call Kayotsarg,
Mhm.
Kayotsarg and this Padmasan, various kinds of meditation, and the whole process, how this moksha actually occurs, that process of the moksha, that ath moksha praptim, moksha is prakar hota hai. The process steps, they are actually engraved. Many are broken, but still some are intact over there, just like Keshloch I could see, and they told that yes, it is because they didn't know about the Jainism word Jain, they know about the Nirgranth, that Nigantha in their earlier language.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was the name of the Jain
And this,
religion in the time
and
of
I
Lord
am talking all these
Veru.
10,000 years before, at the onset of Neolithic era. Now Pashan Neolithic era. So up to that time, Rishabdev was still alive. And after that, I mean, 10,000 years means culture is there. Before that, I mean, before the Mahavira and all these, because before Mahavira and Parashnath, even in the Africa, you see, 3,200 years before present, I have seen the Moon Temple, the Chandra Prabhu Temple is there, Rishabdev Temple is there, and they are following still some people, Orthodox Christians, they are following the Jain traditions. They undergo for fasting, not for even 1 day or 2 days, for 50 days or something like that. There are definitions are, of course, are different, but
Yes.
so it is not like that we only Jains are in India. Much more earlier traditions are there in different, and particularly in Israel, where Jerusalem was the capital of the our Jain monks. Jain monks, almost I should say 3,500 years before present, till that time. And it is not me, other people of the scholars of the world, they have written, not I have written, others they have written, and I have given the reference. So, okay, thank you very much for giving me opportunity for discussion. I have taken long time today,
No.
but
So it is
I
our
have-
great pleasure to have Professor Rajmal Jain, especially in this course. And we are learning a lot, especially from scientific point of view, and how he is correlating Jain principles with scientific studies, that how these vows which are being discussed for centuries in Jain tradition, in Jain religion, and being followed by Jain monks and also the householders to some extent, how they are very important from scientific point of view, how they can help us to what we say to stop these climatic changes and natural calamities which are being caused because of our luxurious lifestyle and these type of manufacturing, industrialization, transportations. So Jain's people also have to think of it, that they should not increase the number of transportations just for their fun or for their luxuries, but they should also think of that they should not contribute any kind of such kind of gases or carbon dioxide in the environment due to the unnecessary accumulation of such kind of things which are harmful for the nature. So it is very
only
important.
my today's message will be that the important concept which I gave in the very beginning, everybody must please send this message to everyone, that everybody must realize the self-organized criticality. Even the celestial objects also undergo to the same, whether it is Earth or the Sun or the cosmos or anyone, okay? Nobody can keep anything accumulated for a longer time. It has to be released, it has to be dissipated. Then we are simply human beings. We are the guest on this earth for some time, and we should not be greedy. The earth itself or the nature will take care of if we will not dissipate our accumulation things. So aparigraha is also the law of nature, just like non-violence is also the law of nature. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you for coming and for giving so much time for giving all these informations and scientific what we say studies, showing all the scientific studies with all the scientific pictures or photographies. So that is also very fascinating part of this discussion.
राजमल जी एक्स्ट्रा लेक्चर देते हैं प्राइवेट में?
मेरा तो रोज लेक्चर होते ही है।
अच्छा, कौन सी वेबसाइट पे वो बताना?
कई सारी अलग अलग ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, कॉलेजेस,
अच्छा।
इंस्टीट्यूशंस तो इनवाइट करते हैं, तो लेक्चर देता ही हूँ मैं।
हाँ, तो मेरे को आपको सुनना होगा, तो कैसे रीत से सुनूं?
आप मैंने अभी लास्ट जो स्लाइड थी उसमें एक ईमेल आईडी भी दे रखा था,
हाँ 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 हाँ
और उसमें फोन नंबर भी था,
हाँ
वो
जी,
दैट इज
है अभी भी
नंबर,
चालू है,
और उसमें
वो तो दिखता
ईमेल
ही
भी।
है।
हाँ, तो वो
हाँ
ईमेल आईडी और
हाँ
फोन
जी,
नंबर है। वो फोन नंबर व्हाट्सएप का है, तो आप व्हाट्सएप भेज सकते हैं। यू कैन आल्सो सेंड मी ईमेल आल्सो, व्हाटएवर यू कैन
थैंक यू,
राइट,
आपने बहुत
एंड
बढ़िया
वी कैन
बताया।
डिसाइड दैट ऑन विच डेट इट इज पॉसिबल।
या जैसे हमारे समणी जी हमको सिखाते हैं, ऐसा ही आपने सिखाया है, और समणी जी भी इतने ही एक्सपर्ट है और बहुत बढ़िया कराते हैं, और आपने ज्यादा प्रकाश डाला है, इसलिए आपको भी बहुत बहुत नमस्कार करता हूँ, वंदन करता हूँ, आपका ज्ञान को वंदन करता हूँ।
थैंक यू, आभार
So,
आपका
thank you.
बहुत बहुत।
Thank you all the participants. Almost 15 participants are remaining here in the end. So they are having so much patience to listen to all these serious talks from scientific perspective as well as from religious point of view. So it is great to have such good number of participants. Yeah, some of the participants, they are taking lectures online. So they are using video lectures whenever they are getting time. Thank you, Professor Rajmal Jain.
ओके ओके,
Yes.
चरण वंदामी माता जी, वंदामी
Thank you.
चरण, आभार आपका। हाँ।
Thank you very much for giving so much time.
माता जी तो
Jain
नहीं
is being
बोलते हैं,
invited.
उनको माता जी नहीं बोलते हैं, मगर
Okay.
महाराज साहब बोल सकते हैं, या
महाराज
समणी
साहब,
जी
हम
बोल
महाराज साहब भी बोलते हैं, माता जी भी बोलते हैं। हमारे यहाँ
in-
तो हमारे
Yeah.
चरण का वंदामी करना ज्यादा जरूरी होता है, हम चरण वंदामी को सबसे ज्यादा महत्व देते हैं।
हाँ जी,
So what Rajmal Jain is saying, he and Mataji in Digambar tradition, they are like us. So
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा
it is appropriate for him to say.
अच्छा अच्छा। एक्चुअली आपने संसार छोड़ा है तो माता जी बनना ही नहीं है, माँ तो
No,
बनना ही नहीं था।
in Digambar tradition, the sadhvis are recognized as Mataji. They are
Oh, okay,
माता
got
जी,
it,
as Mataji,
that
understand.
is a
not
that
as
अच्छा,
is
mother.
religious
समझे
order of
समझा,
mother।
अभी मैं समझा, अभी मैं
Okay.
समझा।
आप नहीं, आप रिलीजियस ऑर्डर ऑफ मदर और रिलीजियस ऑर्डर,
हाँ,
ना?
अच्छा, सही बात है। हाँ,
Okay. So
We should
now
do
we
it.
are
ऐसा
leaving.
जो संजीव गोदा भी गुजर गए अभी, तो वो भी
Yes.
दिगंबर
It is-
से बहुत बड़े अच्छे थे, संजीव जी गए, संजीव
Yes,
गोदा।
Yes, he was
हाँ,
really very great
very good,
exponent
yeah,
of Jainism, and he was great
yes,
scholar, and it is
हाँ,
really very great loss for Jain community, especially of Digambar Jain community, that
हाँ,
such a great scholar has gone,
yeah,
who has enormous knowledge, and he has done excellent lectures on original text, and all the
yeah,
lectures are recorded, so they are available, but the person has gone among
yeah.
from us. Okay.
वंदामी
Okay.
समणी जी,
Now we
वंदामी
are
समणी
leaving.
जी।
Thank you. Yes.